All right, welcome to the Fall Fellows podcast. Today we have 5 interesting topics. We're gonna start things off today with TikTok. So it's been a,
Yo, are we
it's been a
live right
very,
now?
yeah, we are. It's been a very
Alright,
debated subject on what should happen with TikTok. Should it be deleted? Should an American company buy it? Should we leave it? Graham, I'm curious. Are you on the side of Microsoft buying it, or are you on the side of deleting it?
Alright, listen. So, personally, if they purchase 100% investment in TikTok, like they were discussing, I would not be upset, because that means that most likely...
It's an American company.
It's not... Yeah, exactly. And that means that most likely the app's not going to be deleted, because President Trump has stated that he thinks it should be an American-owned app because of how much power it
we don't
has
want,
over American culture and just
and
everything.
you know how America is with communist countries, so
Oh, yeah.
we don't really. Are you aware that the military, every branch of the military actually has TikTok banned?
Really? Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I've seen multiple military TikToks.
I know.
of people.
That clearly isn't regulated well.
If our own military men are wanting to make TikToks, I say we let them. You know.
I find it hilarious
It's
when
just the Navy, though.
people get upset about taking away these people's careers and their livelihoods.
See,
that's
that's not a good excuse for it, because you could do something so much more productive.
Well, yeah, and it's like you're an actor, but at the same time, it's like even actors, you need to have a backup. You can't just, as a teenager, you're still immature. You can't just go full-fledged into an app and
Yeah, as an actor too, usually they make a lot of
okay,
money,
as an
so they can
actor,
do
you are dependent on
activism.
yourself performing, but you can't be dependent on an app. Like, that is outside of your control. It's not smart to...
And do you know how much like the most famous or like what's the most money a TikToker makes? Do
Didn't
you know?
Addison Rae make
Someone
$5
pull that
million?
up.
She made $5 million, I think.
Hey,
I wouldn't be
Addison
surprised. She definitely makes the
Rae
most.
I'd just
salary.
like to inform you guys what kind of information TikTok collects.
$5
It
million,
collects
yep.
Information such as location data,
Okay. So
internet access, like
Yeah, but
sites
China
you
already knows
search.
we're in the U.S.
No, I know, like your specific location data. It collects your internet address. One second.
So
I'm reading.
I'm trying to think of what would China do with
It
this.
stores your browsing search history.
Oh,
Don't
that's
care.
okay. Well, that's a little sus because now China can force feed ads to us because they know exactly what our interests are. So if China
Yeah, I
wanted
don't like
to make
that. I already
another
get that
big,
enough on my phone.
well, so say we did get rid of TikTok, right? China already has our advertising data, so wouldn't they, if they wanted to do this again, couldn't they easily do it again? Unless the United States just removed Chinese apps completely.
And couldn't China just flood the App Store with similar apps until one of them blows up again slightly?
I mean, that's what they already did before. That's what it seemed like. There was a bunch of Chinese apps that no one liked. And then all of a
TikTok
sudden
just got
TikTok, it's because they bought
Well,
Musically, didn't they?
purchased Musically, yeah.
So they
Which
purchased
one is this?
Musically.
Is this the,
I
is this
use
the- is
I
this
use
the
Musically
infected
more than, yeah, this is infected. I use Musically a lot more than TikTok, that's for sure. That was
You use
popping
Musical.ly.
when we were
I
in
never
8th
used
grade.
Musically.
When we were in 8th grade, Musically was,
I always thought Musically was. That
I
was when I
remember
was
I was
still
in
on the
Miss
Vine wave,
Wickens.
so
yeah, I was in Miss Wickens' classroom making Musicallys with Preston and Joe Burton.
I'm still
So-
not infected.
Yeah, I guess what would be so obviously the thought of China, like a sketchy country like that, who controls their citizens for the most part, having our data would be scary, but like,
I
Jamie,
think
is
that
that,
most people are scared.
was that all the
because,
data that they
see
have?
what's-
Yeah,
Like,
they
what
don't
is-
actually collect. They collect a lot of the stuff.
I mean, I
you
guess
just
the
put
ads is
into the
enough,
app. Like
just
they can collect stuff like your email address, phone numbers, and stuff, and your GPS location as well.
Did you guys
So,
see that,
as long
they
as-
actually,
And payment information.
they're gonna start paying their creators. I think David Dobrik was gonna be one of the first
they
ones.
have a
That's
$1
like
billion fund for that. That's really
yeah,
interesting.
it's gonna be, well, that's like their counter, I think, to, oh, we lost.
Well, they also said they were gonna put
That's
a bunch
like-
of jobs in America. as
That's like
well,
their
so
counter,
definitely
yeah, they're trying not to get,
appeal
yeah.
to the United States government.
but it's like, I think it's still sus. They're because they're just trying to mask
So,
it, like the data. I
TikTok
think the
also-
ad stuff is the biggest
TikTok
problem.
also checks your clipboard, like what you have copied, so like it knows
Oh.
what you have copied.
That's kind of weird.
I
Like, why would they
definitely-
need
okay,
that?
so hear me out. I definitely think TikTok has like the creators in China. I definitely think they have a different intent than just providing us entertainment. But at the same time, I don't think the danger is like sufficient enough for them to delete the app.
Okay,
What do you guys
yeah.
think? Have
That's
you guys heard of
reasonable.
Huawei?
I do think deleting the app might be a little extreme, just because it's
Yeah.
like, regardless of the country, like this company wants money, they start making money, a lot of money, and then for you to just take it away without any compensation. That's why I think I'm on the side of Microsoft buying it. I would just rather have the United States to have the revenue, especially, or the huge revenue stream, especially with. Would you say that most people on TikTok are from the United States?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, but I'm not 100% sure on the demographics.
I'll
I
look
feel
it
like
up.
because India is
The
banned. It's
biggest
banned in
audience
India,
is
so it can't be India. It's definitely
Because like obviously
United
all I
States.
see, mostly
Yeah,
all
or
I see is
India.
American TikToks, but that's because like
Yeah,
that's-
they when you
probably-
like
they probably
yeah, that's
target
one thing I don't
TikToks
like
that
about TikTok
we're
is
from.
you like one thing and it just force
India?
feeds you
Okay.
that. It's just like a weird. It's just like because you could
It's
say
very
that
good at that.
they only get your location, they only get your ad preferences, but what they also get is what you believe in because they fine tune it so sharp to where the only content you get is stuff that you like, and it happens really
Very good at
fast. Because
that.
I liked one Donald Trump thing. The next day I wake up, get on TikTok, it's just all Republican stuff. I start not liking them. They start giving me less of that and more of random other things. I like the I guess the shoe meetup ones. Those are funny. Now that's all I get. It's just like that where that would be an easy way for them to find out exactly what the
Yeah, like if I wanted to see specifically one thing, that's why there's a page for following and there's one for you. Like if
Yeah.
I wanted to see something specific, I'd follow a page and then I'd go to the following page.
Yeah,
and I'd look
exactly.
at those.
It's just
I
like
think
it doesn't
it's
give you
really-
it doesn't show you both sides of a lot of issues, especially
Yeah, it should just
TikTok,
it
yeah,
should,
TikTok's a very good way to radicalize people, in
Oh,
my
yeah,
opinion,
for
because
sure.
Anna's TikTok is just fucking brutal.
yeah, I'm not
And my
surprised.
TikTok isn't like that bad, but it's definitely biased.
Well, yeah, I just
towards
try if I
Republican
see
stuff.
something like that where they're trying to make it like extreme, I just don't like it at that point. Because I'm
By the
like
way,
I would
I
I want it to show me.
like TikToks. Honestly, I don't really like.
I don't
stuff
like
that
a lot
much.
either,
It's
unless
not
I
an
laugh
instinct
out
in my head
loud.
to double tap on stuff.
Would you guys like to know how many users the countries have on TikTok?
Yeah, the distribution.
India actually had 120 million users before it got banned. The
Yeah, they
United States
got
has
banned.
about 140 million. Turkey has 30 million, and Russia has 25
Bro, are you
million.
kidding me?
Which how much
Wait,
does China
Russia
have,
has
you said?
145
million?
I don't even think India had 120. Russia has 25 million.
Oh, I thought
How
you
much does
said.
China
TikTok.
have?
I don't even know if it's allowed in China.
It's a Chinese.
It would
wait,
have
it's not
to be
allowed
allowed
in
in-
China.
It's probably not.
That would be sus.
Honestly,
if
that
it's
would
not
make
allowed in
sense.
China.
Yeah, because isn't Instagram not allowed? It's pretty much like
TikTok is not.
it's like
TikTok
the-
is not available in China, and its data is
Yeah,
stored.
but wouldn't the TikTok headquarters
That's
be
just
like wherever
weird.
they
That
create-
seems-
wherever
okay,
they own
that
the app?
seems
Would that not
weird.
be in China? Would that not be based in China? So how do they allow that, but then don't allow the app? That's just
it's
I don't know,
China,
it doesn't
dude.
make sense.
That's a sus part because maybe it's like because okay, so communism. There's usually a lot of
Here-
high business officials that are high in the government who own these businesses and companies because they don't want the public having this free enterprise, you know. So
Yeah.
it would
Can I
be
read
someone
Can I read
in the
something real quick?
yeah. Pull it up, Jamie.
This says TikTok's parent company ByteDance claims that TikTok
Yeah, I
is
know
not
it's
available
Byte.
in China and its data is stored outside of China, but its
Where?
privacy policy has reserved the right to share any information with Chinese officials.
That is weird. I just like why should China be allowed to own the app when they don't even allow their own citizens?
Well,
Yeah,
it's like
that's
China
weird.
also
That
sends
seems weird.
a
I
lot-
That's how
honestly
you
did
know
not
it.
know that.
That seems like a different motive then. It's just like weird because you know that in a communist society that these people are more than likely government officials who are using this data. Especially if they don't, because there's no
reserve
free
the right
enterprise.
to do that.
There's no like, it's not really a free market. Like I don't think you could just wake up one day and say I want to start a business and have it be popular without having government interference.
Yeah, the governments and everything. If the government wants it, it can have it. Have you guys heard of like Huawei, the phone company?
Yahweh?
Huawei.
Yeah. Jase?
It's like it's like one of the it's like one of the biggest phone companies in
Oh,
China.
I was at the
and their
finish
phones-
line, dude.
No,
Like,
I
they're
didn't.
Okay,
from-
don't back out. Don't back
I was
out.
at,
I qualified.
I was at the
Just to
finish line.
inform
That's
the,
ridiculous.
Just to inform the viewers, we played 4 games earlier, and I won 3 of them. So, and Mr. I don't know how you want to be addressed in the podcast, but my other fellow member has 0 wins. Just in case you're trying to decide whose opinion to listen to more.
Hey man, I'm trying. I'm more for the team sports.
You can
That
tell
is
who
also-
the real fall fella is here.
So So yeah, in my opinion, I think it needs to be bought by Microsoft because you know that in China it's not very easy to own your own business, let alone a very successful business, especially when the governments would see an opportunity to kind of keep tabs on another country. I feel like China, this app is definitely intermingled with the inner workings of the government. So
Yeah, but let's be honest though. If Microsoft buys it, they're gonna keep tabs on it. They're gonna do
no, yeah,
they're
I'd
gonna
rather,
do
but that's what I'm saying. I'd rather have
stuff.
Bill Gates and Microsoft than a communist country.
Yeah,
At the
I
end
agree.
of the day, that's what my preferences lie in.
Some people would argue that America is basically a communist country. I've seen that a lot recently.
Yeah, but they're fucking retarded.
What's the worst China could do with the data that TikTok stores? Is it just sending out ads? Or what do you think?
It would be them.
sure.
I mean, knowing all the preferences of Americans, cause keeping a lot of money in China because they can release apps using these preferences. Grant,
Ooh.
I
this
get
looks
grabbed
tough.
every time I jump.
But it keeps a large money stream outside of the United States, and takes advantage of because right now most of this, since they haven't been paying creators, let's say most of this revenue, pretty much all the revenue has been straight to China. And I don't know about like your preferences, but I would rather not just be pretty much feeding China with money when we when we have the opportunity to put this into an American-made company with American
Pretty
jobs.
sure we do that anyway, though.
Do what?
Do what?
Just give China hella money all the time.
Well,
I mean-
apparently we owe them a lot,
Yeah.
according to the U.S. debt.
I
Especially a
think
country that
Donald
doesn't allow their own citizens to go on the app.
puts Muslims in concentration camps.
Alright.
I don't think that we need any influence from China. The lesser influence from China is good.
So are we all in agreement that it's Microsoft that should own this? We shouldn't delete it?
I'm fine with Microsoft owning it. It wouldn't change, but I honestly don't care that much in the end because I don't think much is going to change on TikTok. And
Yeah,
it's all about the
I'm less
information
worried
that's
about-
care about.
I'm less worried about like what's actually on TikTok than just China being the ones who
I'm
have
more
all of
worried
our
about
preferences,
how it-
especially like the military. I'm glad the military has a ban, but they also need to kind of enforce that more because I don't want the military, or I don't want China to know every military man's perspectives and allow them to
If they're gonna
radicalize our
analyze it and
military.
show it to their military. I can just imagine a
I'm
room
curious
full
to
of
see other
Chinese
people's
government
takes on this.
officials analyzing TikTok trends. They're like, this is how we bring the fall of the U.S.
Hold on. I'm reading an
I feel
article
like
real
TikTok,
quick.
I feel like they do a
TikTok
very
topic
good
has
job
been
at
covered.
radicalizing people.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a good idea for our military at all to be able to radicalize them like that.
Well, I think if you're in the military, you're not a Democrat. Well, like a Democrat that I don't like because.
Speaking of the military, how do you feel about the Coast Guard?
Coast
What
Guard
about the
gang.
What
Shout
about
out
the
the
Coast
Coast
Guard?
Exactly. That's how do you feel about it?
No, I think they do very good things with disaster relief and.
So are
Good,
you guys
that's what I wanted to
are
hear. A lot
are
of
you
people
guys
just hate
worried
on
about-
the Coast Guard.
you guys worried
I mean,
about?
I-
Keep going, Aiden.
I don't know much about the Coast Guard, but I know that a few of my one of my neighbors is.
Grant, let's see this.
Tell 'em
You
all the
gotta hop.
time. So
Oh.
Oh,
Are you guys worried about, so on your phone, say you say something out loud, right? Like we played this game, Grant, and then you get an ad for it the next day, or you get a video on it on Instagram or something. Are you worried about that at all? Like companies using like across different platforms? Because obviously if you look something up on Instagram, it'll give you more of that on Instagram or other social medias. But
My
are you
only
worried?
thing is like, what can that lead to? That's really that terrible. I'm
I
just
think
not,
that's capitalism at its finest. Genuinely, I have no fucking problem with that.
it's like
I
it's
just,
like it's
yeah, I'm
kinda
not
like
really
shadow
worried about
marketing.
it either. Cause
It's just
for my perspective is it's like it's gonna happen regardless. So like you not or like downloading some VPN or something like that. Like your telephone provider is gonna do it. The base of your phone, they're doing it. I don't think there's any way to get around
like
it.
Mark Zuckerberg, the stuff with Facebook data mining, and then he covers his like laptop cameras and stuff like that to protect from like he is against it, but he does it with
Yeah,
his company.
does
He's
it
okay
a
with it.
lot,
Yeah,
and he is
so
such a
he's
wide
shady.
influence. Yeah, it's just like
you can,
you're led to wonder why he's afraid of it if he does it. You know, like what is he? Well, the thing is, he's also a very powerful man, so you got to protect yourself at some point when you have that much money.
That's true.
And that much estate.
That's a good
Well,
point.
do you guys remember when Jeff Bezos, like a news company, threatened to release Jeff Bezos' dick pics?
Yeah,
They,
that was
they,
funny.
they held him for fucking ransom. I don't know how they got him, but like. it's
Oh,
fucking
Grant,
crazy.
Grant.
That's
Oh,
tough.
the other kid. You
I
got
was the
second.
last. I was the second
Yeah.
last. That other dude that was playing was doing the jump method. He knew.
But yeah, so I'm
New.
not. I don't know. I'm not worried about an American company having it. I would just rather not have a sketchy company that, like, because they cover up shady things that they do. They don't allow their citizens to watch an app that China owns. So I would rather have them not have my data. So I think that's probably the conclusion.
Does the Chinese government own TikTok?
No,
This
it's
podcast is not going to be able to view
okay. So
China.
my point, Nolan,
China
is
owns
that
everything- every
since China,
business
since China
in
is
China.
like a country that is produced off of communism, you can't have a huge company like that without having the government regulating at some point. And an app that has so much potential for recognizing America, like just your basic American citizens' preferences, the government has to have their hands on it, especially since how much money they're making. Like it's like the government definitely is interwoven in the app. And it's like that to me is the sketchy part. Is that it's not coming from a free country where it's just some CEO. Like the CEO is definitely has ties with the communist Chinese government who hides things from their citizens, what have you, like the app itself. That's my issue with it. And the whole radicalizing thing with how many people have TikTok,
also-
like they have an influence on so many. The way they run algorithms has just a huge impact on everyday American citizens with how many people do it, how many people open the app every day, and that's the Chinese government doing that, not an American business. So that's why I think it should definitely stay in America because they're
Do you
the
think
influence they
less
have on people.
in America should use TikTok?
No,
Or-
because there's
it
no.
doesn't really
It's
matter?
just because if this goes away, there's going to be another short video thing. It's the same thing that happened with Vine. Vine disappears. TikTok or Musically shows up, and then Musically's bought. It's just
Yeah.
our
People
preference
crave social
for.
media, so there's going to be something to fill
Yeah.
the void.
There's the demand for it.
Yeah. So I would just rather have it. I just like the thing that you haven't seen with other things is the way that they radicalize so much. I've never seen a social media where it force feeds you the content that TikTok does.
Yeah.
TikTok also censors things like TNM Square, whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, yeah,
They,
that's
like,
why
delete-
Like
it's
in
delete
America,
China.
it's
content.
censored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with the influence that China has on Americans.
And I never see anything on TikTok about. Obviously, you wouldn't, but like I never see anything on TikTok about how TikTok censors stuff. Like there's no TikToks talking about TikTok taking information.
Yeah, or
But I see like
or anything
every
like
other. But I
bad on
see every
China.
other conspiracy theory, like Pizzagate, Flat Earth. I see everything, but not something as simple as that.
Yeah, it's
That's just weird
interesting.
to me.
So that's why, yeah, I don't think it should be in the hands of China at all. You want to move on to the next topic, the problem, arguably the star of the show?
Oh, are we talking about my main bitch Helen?
Yep.
All right. Listen, so I saw a YouTube video that piqued my interest in this, and I saw it at first, and I was like, he makes some good points, but I don't know if I 100% believe this. But basically, the theory states that Helen Keller, she was blind and deaf. That is true.
Yes,
but
it is
that
a
she
given.
is a lot less gifted than she is like known for. So basically, her teacher, Anne Sullivan, was widely known to be an extreme
So this is her
political
main.
activist.
This is her main teacher.
This is
Like
her main
the.
teacher.
If you
Keep in mind,
if you look up
this was one of
Helen's
the-
teacher, this will be her name.
Anne
Like when she was
Sullivan,
how old?
from a kid until she was like
Wait,
an older
remind
woman.
me of
Maybe she
when
was alive.
what era was Helen Keller alive?
She was alive
I'm
in
not
like the
exactly sure.
10s and
It's like late-
20s, like
it's like the-
1910s.
Here, I'll look it up. I'll look it up. So
No, I got
she
you, I
was
got
born
you.
in 1880.
1980.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
she
that up.
died in 1968.
Yeah,
Okay,
so from
so-
1880 to
You lived a long
1968. Yeah,
So,
that is.
yeah, it's you live a long life when you don't have anything to worry about or deal with because you're blind and deaf. So
Okay, would you guys fuck Helen Keller?
Aiden.
this is counterproductive.
Aiden.
So Anne Sullivan, her teacher, she was her teacher for most of her life, I think, like from when she was a child to like her adult life, and she was known to be like an extremist, they would say back she was on the American government's like watch
Do you know what
list.
side of the political spectrum
Yeah, she was like called a communist basically. So she was
okay.
she was on the watch list of the U.S. government in the 40s and 50s. So was Helen Keller because of this.
The watch list.
Yeah,
So you're
for,
saying
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was,
yeah,
it was
no,
when
the
Red Hunt was going on.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
Red Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, so she had very strong political views. She even wrote books before she was a teacher for Helen Keller, but she never published them because she knew they wouldn't sell or blow up or anything because no one knew who she was.
So she was trying.
And-
she was known. Like she was basically like the spotlight. Like we can
Yeah,
say
exactly.
this. She wanted to be
that's
famous.
the theory.
Something.
So apparently Helen Keller's parents, who were really rich, by the way, which also brings up the point of people think that her parents back in the day, it was frowned upon to have a child that had disabilities.
Yeah.
So,
No. Yeah. Of course. They would definitely. they didn't understand it
It's
yet.
very possible that they would have just went along with it. And so they hired teachers who kept saying, "I'm sorry, your daughter is basically brain dead. Like obviously not brain dead, but she can't function." And then Ann Sullivan comes along. She's like, "Wait, no, every other teacher was wrong. Every other teacher was wrong. Your daughter is extremely gifted," which is kind of suspicious to me.
Wait. So people said, like, who are the people who came out and said that Helen Keller was not smart?
It's not like it's not. I don't know like names or anything of people, but you could the YouTube channel, the one that I watched, this dude explained it in depth. And if I look up an article about it, I bet I could find something right now.
Okay. So yeah, I've always wondered how a blind and deaf person. So was she blind and deaf from birth?
I think it was 2 years old, so she wasn't able to. She wouldn't be able to like remember anything.
So
Or it's like you can't remember anything
she
before
wouldn't
you're
know
around
any
4.
better from the blind and deafness.
Exactly. And she was keep in mind, there are people today who are able to function, but they're not completely blind and deaf. Most people aren't completely blind and deaf; they just have some.
So was she completely blind and deaf?
Yeah, she was completely blind and deaf, and it was either from meningitis or some other disease. Basically,
I had meningitis last year.
And
yeah, it was definitely bacterial.
And so apparently when she would in interviews, there's interviews of her when she was a kid.
3 of our guys are running.
The only way she could speak at that time was by signing into her teacher's hand, and then her teacher would translate.
The teacher being Ann Sullivan.
Yeah, exactly. So the theory is that she's really just scribbling in her teacher's hand, and her teacher is giving her political views. So, okay, one sec. I'm sorry. I'm trying to focus while we're pushing this ball.
No, I know. Half of our team is just not here.
We lost.
So you think her teacher did all the work, essentially?
That's yeah, exactly. Because her political because Helen Keller's political views were exactly the same as Ann Sullivan's.
Yeah, we're not gonna win.
Our team just
Our teammates are awful, dude.
God dang it.
Our teammates just like weren't here.
That's what happens.
You have to all be here. There's only 3 of us here at the end.
I think our teammates were blind and deaf.
No, 3 of them ran away. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is if all of this is through. So okay, so she has I'm reading here that she has a Bachelor of Arts degree. Do we know?
Oh yeah, she was widely renowned for being extremely smart, having thorough political views, in depth, not just like basic like, oh, I vote for them, I agree with these views, like having her own statements. I'm pretty sure she's won awards.
Did she have the same political views as Ann Sullivan?
Yeah, exactly. Like word for word.
Really?
Yeah, and then later, the thing that kind of contradicts some of this stuff is later when she got into her life, she'd be able to answer, like she'd be able to make sounds out of her mouth that sounded like words, but
were they basically just gibberish?
But people think that it's like how a parrot imitates a person.
Okay.
But
yeah, I mean, if a parrot can.
Yeah, but a parrot could also hear and see. That's the only problem.
That's true.
There's a lot. I'm not saying I 100%
Will you invite
believe
Luke
this
to our
theory.
game?
I just think it's really interesting.
Also invite Tanner.
Because Helen Keller is a very like everyone knows who Helen Keller is. It's just like a staple of culture.
So she went to Radcliffe College. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that Harvard? Doesn't Harvard have a Radcliffe College? Yep,
Helen Keller went to Harvard.
She went to Harvard. No, she went to Radcliffe. That's advanced study. So I think that's. Oh, it's okay. So Radcliffe College is a women's liberal arts college in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and function as the females' coordinate institution for all-male Harvard College. So Radcliffe, I guess, is integrated. So basically, she went to Harvard, female Harvard at the time.
So imagine if Helen Keller had no clue about anything that was going on, and she was just that famous and just didn't even know. She was just there. She was just existing in the void.
Yeah. So you can see videos right here. There's videos of her.
Yeah, I watched videos
Helen
of her
Keller
talking.
speaks out, and that looks like Ann Sullivan. So
she's next to her. She's always Ann Sullivan is always with her when she's doing stuff.
Yeah, so if I were
Exactly.
Anne Sullivan and I wanted to, you
Get a
know,
bag.
get
Get
a
some clout.
bag, so to speak. Yeah, and if her Bachelor of Arts degree was all through Anne Sullivan, then how is that her
Yeah.
degree? Because I guess that
that's
makes
the thing,
sense.
though. It can't be.
That's the
People,
$1 million
like,
question.
Back when it happened, people wanted to believe it. No one would have questioned it back then. No one would have. And even
Yeah,
if they
struck
did,
by
no one was
illness
gonna
at
question
age
it. No one
2,
would
she was
prove it.
left blind and deaf. So, her first word was water. And she said, she just later described the experience. I knew then that water meant the wonderful, cool something that was flowing over my hand. Wonderful,
The only
cool.
bad part about this is if we're wrong, then we're just like hating on one of the most intelligent people of all time.
Well, I wouldn't
not
call her most intelligent,
most
but
gifted, like that's
like
incredible.
coming
You're
from
incredibly
the
gifted for
bottom.
that,
Yeah.
Coming out straight out the mud.
Here, let me.
Even though she was, it also helped that she was extremely rich, so she had good circumstances. to be able
Overcame
to
the
come out of that.
adversity of being blind and deaf to become one of the 20th centuries. Anne Sullivan helped her make tremendous progress with her ability to communicate.
Doubt.
Served as her father was in the Civil War. Well, it says here that the family was not particularly wealthy.
Piss break.
Started walking at the age of 9. Keller lost both her sight and hearing at just 19 months old. In 1882, she contracted an illness called brain fever. The true nature of the illness remains a mystery today. Yeah, it might have been scarlet fever or meningitis.
Alright, but how do you feel about Dennis Rodman?
What is this ad? What is going on? Okay, I'm closing that out.
I was watching The Last Dance earlier, the Michael Jordan documentary, and Dennis Rodman is such an interesting character.
I know, he started
Really
really
is.
normal and just like a quiet dude, and then
And he was wearing dresses and meeting with Kim Jong-un.
I'm gonna read here what Anne Sullivan.
I think Dennis Rodman is way better than Helen Keller, because if they were like in a basketball 1v1, he would dunk the shit out of her. He'd sauce her up.
You think
So
I don't know. It's possible.
so it says here that Anne Sullivan contracted trachoma, an eye disease, which left her partially blind without reading or writing
What?
skills.
Yeah, but that was probably later in her life, so she already like had a grip on everything. Ready up, by the way.
No, wait, invite me.
Yeah, we need to invite. So, I mean, we don't, like, it was so long ago that there's not a ton that we can say on this. But
feel like I
if
found
I were
something.
blind and deaf, I don't know how I would, like, we're a group of pretty intelligent people, higher than
Okay, so
average.
supposedly Helen Keller wrote her first story at the age of 11.
But how do you write a story? Like, how do
like
you learn the
and
language?
it's not just saying like a story like once upon a time, poo poo pee pee, not
Yeah.
something like that. It's like it was like a deep story, like with proper grammar and everything, and it was. And
Well, I
she
mean,
published
that's
it.
probably why she's like Helen Keller, and you don't know any other like blind and deaf people.
No, Nolan. It's not just a blind deaf person that learned to function. She was like the only like. There's no completely blind and deaf people that can function, let alone write like entire novels, and then like write a biography, have deep political views.
No, I know. That's why she's like.
No,
Okay,
no,
I'm
no,
looking-
blind and deaf person,
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
I'm
we
saying.
understand, but that's what we're saying that it's fake because
Like,
she's
you don't
not-
think
like,
that could happen? Or what?
Oh, we're saying that there's. I'm saying, listen, Nolan. There's no other total blind deaf people that can even like read, write, and stuff like that. And they're trying to say that not only could she read and write, she could also do all that other stuff too. It would be astounding. It would have been news back then in the early 1900s. It would have been news if a blind and deaf person was reading and writing just normally even. This is saying she wrote like a book and published it when she was 11.
No, yeah, no way. No way by the... She did not know the meaning of the word plagiarism until when it was explained to her.
And also, she didn't learn to communicate until after the age of 6.
I don't understand how you could teach someone that young who's blind and deaf. Like, I feel like you'd have to be, like, fully developed.
And that was in 18
brain-wise.
Yeah.
especially with the technology. Like nowadays, I could see it happening just with our technology, certain machines, certain like learning tools. But in the 1800s, I don't see that. Yeah, basically it seems to be inconclusive, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot more sense to me that it would be fake than real, especially given Anne Sullivan's circumstances and her situation basically in terms of being an activist and all that.
And
Especially with Helen Keller having the exact
Helen Keller
same.
was completely like, even if she was completely like real and did all this stuff, like you can't tell me that Anne Sullivan like would never just sometimes because whenever
they have
she
the
was
same
translating to
political
her,
views.
you can never say that Anne Sullivan was never just changing stuff that she wrote. Sometimes, like if she didn't like what Helen Keller wrote, she could just change it.
No, she had such an opportunity to, especially because like you can't speak being blind and deaf. You can't hear yourself at all. You can't hear other people. There's no way to learn the language if you can't hear the language. And you can't learn sign language either.
She wrote about feminism, socialism, anti-militarism, probably a bunch of other.
It would just be like, okay, imagine how slow it would be, because you could like hand Helen Keller an object. Say you hand her a glass of water, and then you'd shape her hand and teach her that that's water. You know, you just like point back and forth, make the connection. But if that's how you learn the entire language, you know how long it would take to learn enough language to write a book? Like, how would you teach him like the word the word that, this? Like, how would you teach her those words?
That would be crazy.
It's like words like that, like, 'cause not everything's like water, where you could just give her water.
Because we growing up, we learn those words because we hear like examples of people using
and
them.
you see it.
Like,
you see it.
You never, yeah, exactly. You never. It's never just like defined.
It's a lot
like,
easier to make that connection.
Stuff or you like the dictionary.
Yeah, no, there's just like a lot of words that don't.
You hear how it's used in sentences by your parents growing up and stuff like that. You like your brain like attaches.
Yeah, you know
something
how
to
to
it, like,
you know how to make the emphasis words like
she started from scratch.
Who. The question words, like how do you teach the words?
To her, well, how was it even described to her? Like what that there were words, that there was like that she like that there was.
Well, because she would have to do sign language or some sort of signaling. So that's why you got to think of it like.
No, I'm saying initially, like what was the first thing like when she was a kid? Like that's like she had like, it's not like reality. Like how did she understand what reality like was and stuff? That's what
probably just that first year, I guess.
Probably didn't.
Like the first 2 years.
I know. Like, I'm still saying like how. Like it doesn't make sense. Like,
I just don't understand the words that don't mean anything by themselves. Like how would you teach someone that?
I always think about how I was taught that. It's just so weird how your brain just like learns that.
Well, the thing is you can see it and you can see on paper the words. You can see on paper the sentences and slowly learn that you need to have the or a before certain words. But she couldn't see that. She can't feel the word the. Like. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Shall we move on to the next topic?
What was the next topic?
Luke, we're mid-podcast. Join our game, Tanner, and...
We need invites.
Throw invites.
At least I do.
Grant. Throw an invite to Luke and Tanner.
No, you.
I
Rock,
can't.
paper, scissors, ready?
I can't.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I can't invite people when it's not my lobby.
Oh. You can.
No, it's
Wait, this is your lobby.
Oh. Okay, I'm inviting Tanner.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Okay. The next TikTok is the COVID conspiracy, the origins of COVID.
Oh boy, this is relevant right now because I'm getting tested for COVID tomorrow, everyone. So.
Yep, and I have COVID right now, everyone.
Good luck on the test.
Thanks, I studied.
So, ready up. So basically,
guys, I passed the COVID test. Let's go.
Okay, so it's known. Let's lay this out right now. It is known that the COVID virus, I guess coronaviruses in general, come from bats. Bats carry these. They have been transmitted, regardless of how it's transmitted. They have proven they have been transmitted from bats before. They have not been as, I guess, lucky on the viruses standpoint in terms of how many, like having that exact balance of death and infectivity to actually infect this many people, as well as getting out in the right spot. But it is known, like obviously in Wuhan they eat bats and stuff like that, so that would be obviously the connection there, somehow it leaked there. But there's also the side of people who say that it comes from a lab. So, Grant, what are your thoughts?
Regardless, I think the people who say that the virus isn't real are stupid. Like, it's
Yeah, well,
real.
yeah, it's real. It's a
100%.
real thing.
But so I think it's 100% possible that it came from a lab. It's definitely
Okay,
possible.
I think it's possible.
Viruses have been
but-
created in labs before. It's
Yes,
definitely
but-
possible.
But
even then,
what is the motive for releasing
if it
it?
got
That's
out.
But hear me
Well,
out. This is
did they
I have a point. I have
release
a
it
point.
on-
So
on
listen,
purpose?
every election year, I saw a thing about how every election year there's always to increase like strife even more in between like the political parties and everything.
Yeah.
It's not even just political parties,
Polarization.
just people in general. Yeah, exactly. There's always something going on. Like I think it was SARS last election, or
No, last year it was the hurricane.
last
not
year.
last year.
No,
I'm talking about the last
that's
election.
the last
4
election.
years
Last
ago.
election was the hurricane.
I'm not talking about hurricanes. I'm talking about diseases specifically.
No, I know.
So-
During presidential
Aiden,
years.
Aiden. I'm
Are
talking
you
about
saying,
viruses
like-
specifically.
okay.
Just let me finish. So, it wasn't SARS. SARS was in 2012, I think. But it was whatever was going on in the Caribbean islands, the one that was the Zika virus. It was that in 2016. Because my mom, I think she was supposed to go on vacation, but it got canceled because of that. But basically, every presidential election, there's
Well, I
some
can't
disease
get
that
on this because it's
everyone's
just balanced one side.
scared of. Yeah, this is not good.
I literally can't get on this one. I can't get on it at all.
But this is way bigger than any.
It's not respawning me on the other side either.
It's like Black Plague
It
level.
won't respawn me on the other side. I can't get up. Like, there's no way because this dude's just standing over here throwing.
You know how many people died in the
There
Black
we
Plague?
go.
Aiden, can you look that up?
Yep.
It was a third of the world, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think
what
it
was
was
what was the world though?
I don't know, like 5 million.
I'm saying number wise.
No,
like,
it's like 100.
According to Wikipedia,
Oh,
in
shit.
total, the plague may have reduced the world population from an estimated 475 million to 350 to 375 million in the 14th
so it's about
century.
120 million.
About a
Ish.
yeah,
What?
100
You
to
said-
120 million.
No,
So
this,
that's fourth.
It said it reduced it, Aiden, from 400 to 300. It didn't say it killed 400 to 300.
okay.
Dude, this
You're
is
right.
so stressful. Some people are literally
20
just staying on
25
one
million
side so it doesn't
people.
balance.
That's more than 25 million.
A third of the continent's population.
Can't
Oh
say
yeah, it
that.
killed a third of Europe.
I'm not gonna qualify.
Did it not spread to other continents? There's no way
No,
it did.
it did. It
It's
came
not
from
as-
Asia.
It's just like Europe
But
was
that-
like the
that was
perfect
that
area
was
because it was the most
concentrated
industrialized.
area and dirty.
Yeah, they
Well, I
have
don't know if it was
those.
industrialized yet at all.
Well, they have the most factories by far.
I don't think there was not
Dude, I just
factories.
dropped
Caden, there weren't factories.
The most okay,
Yeah.
they produce goods. They produce goods somehow. I don't know what you want to call that.
It was in like
It had
1100
cities.
though.
It
So,
had cities.
yeah, it was
Wasn't
just
that-
concentrated areas of people, and they were dirt. It's because the cities were so dirty too, and just kept poorly.
But wouldn't people like they've had blacksmiths since day one? So those kind of things wouldn't those they
Yeah.
have to they have to specialize somehow. I don't know what you want to call those. The pre-industrial revolution era.
Yeah, but they were probably pretty much the
Because
same.
it's not
as,
like it's not like they
Asians.
all just went home and were on farms and did their own thing. Like it wouldn't spread if they were all on farms like that. Like they had places they went and made things.
Well, yeah, it was cities. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
They
they
were
had
definitely
cities, but
cities.
they weren't industrial.
It was just concentrated areas of people.
Yeah, no, I was just saying whatever you want to call that. I just called it a
They had
factory.
like stores and stuff. If you look at like Game of Thrones, it's like a perfect example. It's just like areas where there's not like factories or anything. It's just like people, like little like.
But would you go
shops
to
and
work?
stuff.
Like, wouldn't you go somewhere? Because it's not like everyone was doing their own thing.
A lot of people were peasants. There was a ton of peasants back then. I don't know what they did. They were just like,
They just farmed the land
Peasants.
and shit.
well, no, I'm saying where there weren't farms.
Oh.
Yeah, like in a
I don't know, They
town.
made like shoes or whatever.
They,
Yeah, like
shoveled
that
shit.
kind of stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's what I'm
making
saying.
shoes,
Yeah.
making shoes had to have been big back then.
Just
Like
making
blacksmiths
textiles and all that.
stuff.
Imagine if
Collecting
they were around when
garbage.
Michael Jordan came around. They would have been. They're probably so pissed they weren't. Would have made
Imagine
some
they had
crazy
Air
action.
Force Ones in the Black Plague.
The Black
that
Air
would've
Force
got-
Ones would have hit different.
The Black Plague Air Force Ones.
Okay, so back to what we're saying. I don't see it. So if someone were to purposely release it, I think that's the only way it comes out of a factory, because not a factory, but like a lab. Because
Even
if you
like
look
a
at
Chinese one?
the last time any virus was leaked was 1978.
What was that?
Here I'll look.
Do you think AIDS was?
I
do you
looked
think
it up.
AIDS was
I looked it
created
up
by
the other
government?
day.
That's a big one. That
Oh,
people
that's a
always
big
say.
one.
Ooh.
That,
No.
Was it
I just, like, I don't
the
see-
conspiracy about
I
that
don't see
to
I don't-
reduce
okay.
the black population, wasn't it?
Wait, why would they do that? Yeah.
I don't see a motive
and
in.
people say it was to like scare off people about homosexuality.
Oh, that as well.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah, back
it's not
then.
true.
But I think we should stay on COVID because given that it's so rampant right now and it's like the big.
Why can't I grab people sometimes?
I just like
Really?
I don't see a motive because everything has a motive. No one's just gonna release the virus without a motive. I don't
Unless it
believe
was an
that.
accident.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It hasn't happened since 1978, and you know how much has happened since 1978, and the technology increases. I don't think it's possible that would just. I don't think it's possible that would just accidentally leave on a whim. Since it'd be different if the last time it happened was 2010, but it's been 40 years. How does the amount of technology that we've had change in that period of time? How does you just let that slip? I don't believe that, regardless of the country. Because in the entire world, the last time it happened was 1978.
Wait, the
time.
last time it happened?
been
Sorry, I was really
doing
focusing. I was
on
really
any level.
focusing on Fall Guys.
I mean, stuff can still happen. Like just
Well, yes,
accidents.
Tanner,
like,
but it
it
hasn't in
was
40 years, and you know, like I just like find it
40
unlikely.
years isn't that long of a time.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty big gap if you look at the virus, the viruses being released.
40 years.
Yeah.
isn't
Well, I
a
mean,
long-
I'm
isn't-
sure
it's
we're
not
much
a
40
long
better
years
time.
isn't a long
It's
time
not
when
a
you.
long time, but with technology,
Yeah,
how
the
it's
amount of
advanced
technology
that
that's
much in that
changed.
short amount of time,
That's what I'm saying.
It's a lot if you look at it from that perspective.
Obviously, 40 years is not even half a lifespan, but the amount that's happened in our last 40 years is incredible.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I don't think and you're not
technologically,
allowed to.
Isn't it like technologically in the last like 100 years we've advanced more than we have in the last?
You're also just not allowed
yeah.
to.
Rest of
You
our
can't
lives.
you can't work in a lab and have your own lab and just like with a what's it called, with a license and be stupid.
It's not
and,
their
like-
own lab. It's a Chinese government-controlled lab.
Exactly. They're not gonna have a lab if they don't know what they're doing. Like, why would they have a lab if they don't know what to do with that and how to keep it secure? Like, that doesn't make any sense. If it's a lab that's ran poorly, it wouldn't be in play. I guess I'm still trying to say.
Did you qualify, Caden?
Yeah. I
Well,
just
no,
think it's
but you
ridiculous
wouldn't
to
know
think
it's
that they
ran
don't know
poorly
what's
until some,
happening.
like, mistake happens, you know what I mean? And like this is the
Which it
mistake.
hasn't happened.
If it was.
Like, China's had labs on viruses for many. It's not like all of a sudden they were like, let's just do a lab and put just COVID in it. Like, I'm telling you, the last time it's happened is 1978, and China's definitely had labs on viruses since pre-1978, for sure. And if you're given it, like, I don't understand how you would accidentally release it. There's something about like monkeys taking it. Please put me on
Wait,
blue
first
team.
up, do you think
Oh,
it was
I'm on the
leaked, or do
team
you
that
think
has-
it was like from bats or whatever?
I think it was from bats because I don't see a way that it could accidentally be released. Because I think if it okay, my opinion is that if it was released on purpose. I don't think it could happen accidentally, and I don't think it happened on purpose because I don't see a motive. The only motive I would see is money based. Say you get half the world infected and then you drop the vaccine, and boom, you have so much money, like incredible amounts of money. Because if you were to have leaked it on purpose, you would know the virus and you would have the vaccine. You wait till it goes peak and then you release the vaccine and boom, you're a trillionaire that fast. I think money at the end of the day is everyone's motive. Like, let's be real here. Everything you've done in life so far has been to the end result, have a career and make money. And
No.
I don't see really,
I don't
Aiden.
do
So you went to
drugs
school
for
for
I
like
don't do
16
drugs
years.
For money.
Okay, Aiden.
I do drugs
Can
for
someone
good.
kick Aiden out of this podcast? He said the only. This is like public.
You were just saying some bullshit.
What did I say? That would
That
be.
everyone does everything for money.
Okay, Aiden. So you went to school for all those years to just drop out and not ever get a career?
That's not.
Maybe
that's
it's
the only
like
thing I've done in
a
life.
test run for an even bigger
I'm sorry.
virus.
I was just
I just
trying
don't
to throw
like.
you off
How
track
would there be
continue.
a bigger virus than this?
One that's
People
a lot
wouldn't
more
let it
deadly.
happen, especially after this.
One that has a higher mortality rate and like.
No, but
like,
you know
actually,
that
like,
you have to have a
not just
perfect
people with
balance.
Underlying issues.
Yeah.
You would have to have a perfect balance. Like a virus, if it's too deadly, it can't get out. You realize that, right? Because it kills
Yeah,
the
but-
host
but
before
you
they
act like
infect
there's-
people.
There definitely could be something more deadly than this.
Yeah,
though.
but it
Like,
doesn't
there's
affect
this-
as many people. It literally can't because it kills the host before they can infect people. That's why that perfect balance is there. Have you ever played the game Plague? You can't be
Yeah,
too
I know, but
deadly because.
you're acting like you know that this is the perfect balance. Like, it could be worse. It definitely 100% could be.
But I don't think it has been, has it?
No, but
In
there
our
also hasn't been
recent
like that
times-
many. This came out of nowhere. This came out of nowhere, so there could be another one even deadlier. We don't know
I just
that.
like and with our technology and our like how safe we are nowadays compared to how we used to be, I don't think that there's really anything that could be worse than this. Because if it's too deadly, well, and we're prepared for it now. Like you just prepared us for a virus.
Yeah, that's true.
After having something like this, I don't think it's possible to have something worse because we already have the measures in place now that you gave us practice almost.
I'm trying to read stuff about how the virus might have been leaked. I'm just trying to find information, but everything is like why conservatives believe, why Trump supporters believe. I just want something not politically charged. That's all I want.
But I also see like you can look at it both sides from the ground zero.
Wait.
that
Here we
it
go.
would
The
be a
coronavirus
perfect-
was not engineered in the lab. Here's how we know.
Wait,
it
it wasn't
says,
engineered in the
Leader-
lab?
If the party leader
It
leaves the
wasn't
game, does it take
engineered
us
in the
all
lab.
to
Here's
leave
how we know.
separately?
No,
What's
we can
the
leave
source?
separately.
It is live science. It's like
Live
a
science. That sounds like
There's
a
no
Chinese
political.
one.
Okay, well,
There's no
let's
political
just
stuff
listen.
here released. It's not saying anything about
Wait,
conservatives.
did everyone?
Yet, or-
Everyone's
think we're all
out
dead.
because we
Yeah,
were
I'm out.
outnumbered in that soccer game.
Here, I gotta pause it 1 sec. But basically, it says Christian Anderson, an associate professor of immunology and microbiology at Scripps, and his colleagues looked at the genetic template for the spike proteins that protrude from the surface of the virus. The coronavirus uses these spikes to grab the outer wall. The gene sequences responsible for two key features of these spike proteins: the grabber, called the receptor binding domain that hooks onto host cells, and the so-called cleavage site that allows the virus to open and enter those cells. That analysis showed that the hook part of the spike had evolved to target a receptor on the outside of human cells called ACE2, which is involved in blood pressure regulation. It is so effective at attaching to human cells that the researchers said the spike proteins were the result of natural selection and not genetic engineering.
So this is
Because
the
it's-
argument against it being purposely.
Yeah, so it's basically
released.
saying that this like they've noticed how like how it's evolved, because you know it's like there's like the SARS-CoV-2, I think that's what it's called or whatever, because there was like an earlier form of it, like it's evolved, so they believe that it's natural selection, not genetic.
Yeah, I don't think it was accidentally released because you like this. If you're a scientist at this lab, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know how big of a risk it is. And they definitely in 2020 they have so many preemptive measures. Like they have to have so many safety protocols. And I understand it's China, but if China, the government isn't like stupid. Like clearly
Yeah,
they're the
I got
biggest
it.
economy. Clearly
Yeah,
they
plus
know.
if they were to release
Okay,
it in
so
Wuhan
apparently-
first, it would obviously hit them like
Apparently, there's
bad.
computer
Yeah,
simulations
it's just
that
like that'd be like
scientists
I
use.
don't know.
It's
They would
dumb.
definitely be try to be safe as possible.
Apparently, there's computer simulations that scientists use to see how like a virus could like they test stuff like oh, I could do this to the virus, what would it do, and they can see like whether it would work or
Mhm.
not. And the things that the COVID virus has done, if when tested in computer simulations, it says that it would not work and it would die off. But in nature, like it's just unpredictable and it worked. So basically, like a genetic engineer would not have done that because it was known as a stupid thing to do.
It would just, yeah, I just don't see any lab now just being like, oops, and like letting it out, because there's definitely more, in that lab, there's definitely more dangerous viruses than COVID in there.
Yeah.
And if they, I just feel like they're as safe as possible. And in 2020, safe as possible is pretty damn safe, especially in a lab setting. It's not like civilians are just walking in there and accidentally grabbing
Yeah,
the...
but you never know. Like anything can
Well,
happen.
yeah.
Like
I think it's
and
possible.
if
It's definitely possible, but I think it's unlikely as fuck.
I agree.
Like, yeah, you can't doubt that. That's definitely. I mean, it's obviously possible. But I think, especially, I think that if it were to be released, that it would be man did it on purpose, and I don't see a motive, especially that there hasn't been a vaccine
It
released
would be an
yet.
accident.
Did you pass the death loop, Cade?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I just did.
Bro, how
I
do
got
you
into
jump
it for a
on
sec.
this thing?
You have to
Cade, I
hold it
think
with
we need
R2.
to, I think we need to talk about one specific theory or idea of yours.
We
involving
still
gravity.
have. Well, I mean, we haven't really finished the COVID one, have we?
I mean, you basically brought up the main point, which was whether or not you believe it was created in a lab. And I don't know if there's really much more to discuss there. Like, not really
Let
other
me think
theories.
here. So obviously you could look at it from both sides, that Wuhan was like the perfect place to start it, but it's also the perfect place where it could just thrive naturally. as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. 'Cause
And I don't think, yeah, like obviously they're trying to be safe because if it gets out, it's China that gets affected first and foremost.
Bro, I'm not gonna qualify again.
you will. Like no one's qualified.
So what are we like?
Dude,
Where
I
do
haven't-
we
I haven't
do we think
passed
that the
one.
do
Oh
we
my god!
Round
I
one
got
yet.
fucking blocked.
are we in
Sorry.
agreement that it like more than likely
Oh.
didn't come from a lab or like
Yeah. More
was
than
it
likely.
just came? Wait, how did it come from bats? Like, do we know the exact? Because obviously they eat them and they do like a lot of stuff like that.
I
It
think
doesn't
they
So
have
do we just think it
a
just
That's
hopped
weird, but
over?
They can carry it. They're just carriers.
It's like rabies.
Yeah.
I don't know if rabies affects bats.
But yeah, because I just think that especially
I don't
because
know
it's
if they carry it.
proven that they eat bats and it's proven that it's in bats. Like I think that's all the evidence you need that it's more than likely comes from bats, came from bats in this because it's happened before. Like it's proven that coronaviruses in the past have came from the bats. So why this
Yeah,
time
'cause
is it
there's SARS, 'cause
sketchy?
the one that's out now is SARS-CoV-2, and the one they've studied SARS-CoV, just the original.
Yeah, no, there's been ones before that have came from bats.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's possible that it came from a lab, but in 2020, if this was 1920 and they're just starting out studying these in labs, like especially that's like the same thing with radiation. When they first started with radiation, they didn't realize how easy it was for the radiation poisoning to get to you.
Chernobyl.
And- yeah, well, like you know
Guys, go
who
put out this fire.
Marie Curie is? She studied
husband
radiation, didn't
died
realize
from
that.
radiation? Or did she?
No, she got clapped because she would keep it in her
Her
pocket.
and her husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, both of them?
they didn't realize that how. And nowadays with radiation, it's like you know how easy it is for it to seep into your clothes and all that. So you're really careful. And I think in this point of 2020, we're pretty damn smart with keeping things that we want to stay away.
I agree. This thing is not going to tip back because everyone's just
So
jumping on it.
next we have on the schedule, we have our weekly prediction. How long is UNL going to stay in school with the no? Speaking of COVID, no regulations. What are we thinking here? Over under on 3
They
weeks?
stay the first semester.
Over.
You think
Yeah,
you're going
I
to
think
stay
we're
the whole
staying.
semester?
Yeah.
But it's only going to
Because
be, it only takes like
jobs.
2 weeks for the numbers to start showing up.
Well, I talked to someone last week, and I think it's his mom is like really good friends with the chancellor here, and he is dead set on us staying here the
Well,
entire
so
time.
even if
Never know.
the
Stuff
numbers
can
go up,
change.
I know,
I
but
think
like
that the numbers
even
can
if
get,
like there is
I
a
think the
small
numbers are going to go up pretty
outbreak,
fast.
he
And it
wants
won't be
to keep
small
us in
because
here.
there's literally no regulations. So I don't understand how it
I
would be
think
small.
that they cannot send us back. Like
Well-
the fallouts of them sending us back is going
Why
to be
wouldn't?
so bad. for
Isn't
them
there
because
like
they're gonna have to
70%
refund
of the
everyone, they're
students
gonna have to-
are from the Midwest?
Yeah, they already
I really-
canceled football too, which is their biggest moneymaker. So
I really
they're,
don't
they're
think
screwed.
that.
Well, Nebraska didn't want to.
Okay,
wasn't
I
there.
Yeah,
put
no
it.
shit, but they
They're gonna.
I'm
I feel
saying,
like they're gonna do some kind of lockdown or send home within the month. Not August, but like
Month,
within
but-
30 days. Like 30
I think
days.
it's
That's ambitious.
I 100% think that we're getting sent home before the end of the
Okay,
semester.
I don't know.
think
Like I don't know
it's-
what they're gonna do in terms of sending home. Like if they're just gonna send home the people who live near there.
I think they're going to try and send home as many people as they can if they do have to send people home.
I just
But-
I don't think there's any
I think at
denying
least-
that the numbers
okay, at
are
least
gonna
I think all
skyrocket.
classes are going to end up being remote, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about like dorms and stuff? Because it's not going to be the spreading in classroom that's the worry. It's going to be the spreading where you live because everyone's compacted in these dorms at the end of the day.
Yeah. I could easily see an outbreak in like one dorm.
So
Well,
I just
including
like
in
they
the-
would have to send
including in the
people home
suite.
because like at Harvard what they're doing is there's only 40% of students on campus. Then you spread them out between the buildings. But on a campus with full students, you can't possibly spread them out. And I think that in dorms is like the worst part. Like that's like the
Including
worst
in
threat because
suites,
everyone's
when you
living,
have-
breathing the same air. You know,
When you have 4 people in suites, it's like if one person gets it in a suite,
They're all
all
gonna
going to
get
get it.
so you have to. I think you have to
Like-
send people home.
I
Yeah,
think
because
that-
there's no way you could spread people out if you don't send people home.
I'd be
Yeah,
pissed too, especially if it wasn't even one of my friends I was rooming with. I just got roomed with some rando and they get it and give it to me.
Is anyone still alive?
Oh, by the
Wait,
way, Keith,
Grant
bottom right. This is going to
No, I
change
got
the
it.
mood of the podcast.
Alright.
Oh, wait, is no one else alive?
No, I got
Just you.
screwed last round.
Watermelon, banana, banana, banana.
I gotta take a bathroom break.
Banana.
So I think
banana.
within the month they're gonna have to send people home, within 30 days, because it's gonna take 2 weeks, and they didn't even test you guys when you got there. So there's people who have it and they don't know it from graduation parties and stuff.
Me and this dude are emoting
Yeah,
with
I
each
see
other.
that.
that was kind of dumb. I don't know why they didn't test us here.
No, they should definitely
That's
make
what
you.
Iowa State's doing.
They should definitely make you present a negative test before going to campus. Like that's just like an easy fix.
That's a
You
very
don't.
easy thing
They don't
to
even
do.
have to provide them. They just make you get tested in your home place before you go or something.
Like Nebraska has free tests.
Yeah,
I
they do.
believe.
No, yeah, I have to get I have to provide a negative test within 72 hours of me flying to Boston. Well, not anymore because I
So you
already
have to
had
get
it.
tested.
So.
Okay. So you would have to get tested there, or like?
I know
you
I would get
tested
tested.
in Omaha,
I would have
like,
to get
that
tested
day?
here. No, I have to get
Okay.
tested like a couple days before I would leave, and then I have to get the result within 3 days of me getting on a plane and leaving. I think that's Massachusetts rule.
Well, I think I had a close encounter with COVID. Like Anna's dad. Like I played cards with Anna's dad, and he was asymptomatic. So.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
and I didn't get it. So,
more
like
of the
you're touching cards and shit.
well,
so.
more of the
You never know.
you're
He could have been
most-
tested falsely
well, you're-
positive if he was asymptomatic.
You can't
He
contract
definitely-
COVID through like touching shit though, isn't it? Just the
Wait,
dry.
No,
wait,
you
Caden,
can. You
Caden,
can. It's just
Caden,
you'd have to
talk
touch your
about
mouth with like
talk
you'd have
about
to
the
touch
thing-
it.
Get
the
get 'em on
guy-
your hands or something.
Talk about the guy who you said tested. You know
Oh,
the guy,
yeah.
I think he was from Harvard.
So yeah, my good friend who's going to Harvard as a tight end, his brother had to get COVID tested. Went in, I think he had an appointment or something like that, and there was a huge line when he got there. And so he was like, it's not even worth it, I'm just going to go home and wait. Basically the next day, gets a call from them that he's positive but never took the test.
Yeah, dude, my dad knows 3 people who went to go get tested. The place was closed. And the next day they got text saying they were positive. They got
So
text
that's like-
messages.
It's like,
And then there's
in-
also people who get COVID like twice, and they count them as like a double case. for
like 2
COVID.
different,
But
yeah.
it's,
Oh, like a
yes,
second
but it's the
person,
same.
yeah.
It's the same person.
No, yeah, there's actual motive here. Different hospitals with more COVID tests that go positive, the hospitals get more money because obviously they need to fund these patients.
More resources.
And so yeah,
I
they
think
get
it's
more
also-
resources.
I think
And
it's
so-
also incredibly sketchy that flu and pneumonia test is just like non-existent this year.
Yeah, like
Because
you don't go and get
it's all
tested
being
for the
counted
flu.
as COVID. It's
Yeah.
all being counted as COVID.
Especially
So,
no,
like,
especially if you're say
include-
at the beginning of the virus when they wanted young people to not go get tested because we were limited on tests. They wanted you to just go and quarantine at home, right? The people, so I got a call. You get a call from contact tracing, so it's usually your health department. So I got a call from the Sarpy Cast health department, and they basically try to see who you were around, what symptoms you have, and
I'm still in,
you're
by
a
the way, I'm
stat
not
at that point. That's when they report their county stats, to the FDA or whoever it is. They have to report it. Yeah, CDC. So
The FDA.
if you were in that period of time when they didn't want young people going in, they were reporting these people for COVID, and they weren't getting tested. So there's so many people who think they have COVID and get tested negative, like Gabe, like Logan, what have you, and they're getting tested as COVID because they they weren't able to go get a test because they were considered a young person who didn't need the test when they had a limited number of tests. So at that point, they're reporting more people who'd never had COVID.
Okay.
It's
Why did this
just,
dude have to walk
it's
on
just
my
a lot. There's a lot
Do you
of.
think the overall numbers in America are higher than the actual?
A lot higher.
I think they're higher for
or
sure.
lower?
A
Because there's a lot
lot
of people
higher.
who get it and never get tested.
Well, no, you still get if you say you would call
I feel like
someone
that's a lot
there's a lot
lower.
of people. The process usually goes, Nolan, is that at that time you would call them, see if you should get tested, and they would tell you no, you don't need to get tested, but then they'll call you for contact tracing because they're basically going to tell you they're going to say assume you have it, so you quarantine, and then they're going to call you for contact tracing. They're just going to assume you have it. That's like pretty much what it was happening, and that's the problem with it. Is that they just assume those people had it. So I think it's over for sure, especially with the things where that kid, so my friend's Tyler, his brother, when he went and got tested and they told him it was positive, that is recorded in the stats as a positive test because they're not going to he's not going to call them and be like, wait, no, this wasn't me. By that time, they already have tallied it as a positive COVID test.
Am I about to win?
Yeah, it's you versus 2 other people. They're already on the bottom. Yep, you versus 1 other person, and he's trapped.
Let's go! That's 4 dubs tonight, boys.
Dude, I haven't even gotten past round 1 yet.
So I probably would say it's over just for that fact that they do. It's not like it's not like you have the symptoms and you just sit in your house and don't tell anyone. more than likely you're going to call them, ask for a test. They're going to say no, just assume you have it, because that's like my mom tested negative, thought I gave it to her, but they told her assume she has it. So I'm assuming they marked it down as she had it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you know that? And also in Colorado, I don't know if they're still doing this, but every death, when it was really popping, every death in Colorado in general is being reported as
I saw that
death.
too.
That's how it was in like the
Every
whole
death.
US, dude.
Yeah, it
No,
was
not
like
the
you
whole
could
US.
you could
No, no,
die.
George- it wasn't the whole US.
George Floyd's death was counted as a COVID death, dude.
Yeah, every
Seriously?
elderly death in most states, like in
Yeah,
any
it could just be from
elderly death,
age or like your
reported as
organs
COVID
failing
death.
because you're old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be COVID.
Yeah. Or like
Yes,
even like murders.
I heard that George Floyd's death was counted as a COVID death. Like,
So that's why, like, I know, like, people-
just because he tested positive, like, apparently he tested positive.
Oh no, that makes sense because they definitely what they did, because you know how his like lungs, like what's his trachea or
His airway. It was his
yeah, his
airway. It was
airway.
like,
That is like I could easily see them as as a COVID complication is what they would consider
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
and there's
but
so
that's
many
not
things
his
like
fault.
Definitely
He literally
died from
got-
someone
he
kneeling
literally
on his
got
neck,
killed-
too.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Like, he
yeah,
probably could've
that
lived
makes
if he
sense.
fucking
Yeah.
didn't get killed by that cop.
I'm just surprised people weren't outraged by that being classified as a COVID
And
death.
resist
I know.
arrest.
No
Yeah,
one
I never
said
even heard
anything
about that.
it.
But it's
Like,
I mean
I
that
never-
makes
I
yeah.
never
There's
heard
like
about that
a
either,
lot of people who get COVID, right? They get COVID, and then die to something else. Say like they had lung
Right,
cancer,
yeah.
right? They get COVID, they pass COVID, like they don't have it anymore, but then they have complications with lung cancer. Like a few months later, they'd be the first people to just say that's from COVID, complication due to COVID, because it was your lungs or anything that has something to do with symptoms.
That's
Say
not
you
fair though. That's so stupid.
say you have like, gosh, what's that disease where your just stomach and you just keep throwing up and all that?
Bulimia?
No.
Bulimia is
What's
a
that called?
mental illness.
It's like something that Chicago used to have in their water. It's something that you can get
Oh,
from
like-
tarnished water.
Talking about that.
It's
Cholera?
Tourette's?
Cholera, yeah. Like say you have like you get like cholera or
Tourette's.
something like that. They would definitely consider that a COVID death because it's a symptom of COVID. And so many things are a symptom of COVID that they could easily just say, "Oh, it's from COVID."
Oh, you
Kind
got
of
shot.
unrelated,
That's a
but like
symptom of
kind of
COVID.
related. I saw something. I think it was in the Washington Post. Like they did
Oh,
a
great.
study. No, that 40% of people who have COVID are asymptomatic, like throughout the entire time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
insane.
infect way less people if you're asymptomatic.
Like, how is that even possible?
The thing is, like, I'd say 90% of the people I know that have had COVID have been asymptomatic too, but most of them have been like people our age, so it's different. But like
Yeah.
that's like people here, at least in Omaha, like most people that I know have been asymptomatic. It's so weird.
Yeah, but they wouldn't really know.
So what? They like test positive and just nothing happens.
But why would they
Yeah, like
test?
my
Why would they
coworker.
test? Because they were just in contact
Because
with
they were
someone
with
with
because
it.
they were with someone. Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
thought I was gonna be asymptomatic too, but then like on the last few days, I finally got symptoms.
I just wish the
baby.
testing was just like 100% sure, like every.
Yeah, I don't
time.
get
I'm
it.
going to
Like
that
either
place
you
to
have it
talk
or you
about
don't.
moving here. I know.
Yeah, it's a good place. It was nice. I just
Like, I
pulled up in my
wonder
car.
what I wonder what the like I don't know what the word is for like the misinterpretation.
negative.
comes
It
from.
used to
Yeah.
be 30%. When Gabe Hetrick took his
No,
test, it was
not the rate. I'm saying what's like what does it stem from? Like what makes them like
no,
get it
yeah.
wrong?
It's like either you have it or you
Oh,
don't. I don't understand
I
that.
just got pushed out. This
Maybe
is
they
so
like
stupid.
how do they test? Do they just like put a microscope on it and see the cells,
I have no idea.
Bro, are you
or they put
fucking
it through a
kidding me?
machine that does that basically, like more simplified? They throw it in a machine that does that
it's in the
automatically.
doctor's
Yeah, I
office.
think
It's probably
so.
like it's like how they like
I
test
just like
your
how
blood.
does the
Like,
machine
what do they do
mess
to
up?
that?
Like maybe you don't have enough of it because I know
Yeah.
for a fact that you get the more you're encountered with. So like say I'm in Wuhan, I'm a doctor at the hospital. Those people had the worst symptoms because they had the most of it. Obviously their body has a harder time fighting off more of it when they're exposed to more of it. But if you're exposed to less of it, I feel like it'd be kind of iffy on the machine because
It's
say
so
you
much-
don't have as many cells, but you do have it. That would be a false negative, I think.
It's so much and it's so much scarier thinking of it like deep down, like thinking about how there's literally a thing like inside you, like trying to kill you, and there's just white blood
it's
cells
gross,
that are
yeah.
just attack. It's so gross to think about.
Oh, I hate
Like, right now
seesaw
it's
so
happening.
much, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Luke, did you
no
not
one. I think you
qualify
asked
again?
earlier
No.
if you can get it
I was
by
fucking
just
in, like, the
touching
lead, too, and I got
it. Like
knocked
you
out.
can't. You can't because
No.
it doesn't just absorb to your skin. You'd have to have like an open cut, or you touch your mouth, which everyone does. Like
Yeah.
you'd have to wash your hands. Like that's the thing that's tough about it. And they also went from saying that you could get it from it lingering on surfaces, and then they said, oh wait, it can't linger on surfaces. But it's like it can't. I think it can't survive. Tanner, why are you AFK?
I'm waiting.
You think it
Yeah.
can't survive? Like
And
just on,
no,
like,
they
the
said it could.
surface?
They said it could survive for like 36 hours, but now they changed it to like it could only survive for like not
Dude,
even a day.
I literally fall every time I jump on this, even when it's just like even when it's like even. This is so stupid.
Yeah, they
I
change
can't
it
get to the
so
second
much.
platform.
I'm on the yellow team
we
in
go.
soccer. I'm about to lose.
They changed like the CDC changed so many of the guidelines and all that,
Do you
and like
think it
the
was
way
on
it
purpose
transfers
or like
on
lack
purpose
of-
that they changed. I think it was just lack of knowledge.
Yeah,
I
lack of
think,
knowledge.
so at the beginning of the virus, the CDC did not recommend masks, but then they
Why?
did. Do you guys think that that was because of the limited production of masks, so that we could use them on medical
Yes,
workers?
yes.
Or
I
Because
remember
if
when I
they
heard about
mandated
I
masks,
remember when
like,
I heard
no,
about masks, I was like,
they
well,
didn't-
I'm not gonna wear a mask, and now it's just like I wear a mask everywhere.
Yeah, because it
Because I
became a
didn't think it
thing
was
in
that serious
Nebraska.
where you needed to wear a mask. This is so cancer.
Shall we move on to the topic, Grant?
Yes, I really want to hear
Also,
Aiden's take on this. He's gonna be confused. I remember when we were at Luke's talking about this, he was like
I
so
understood
confused.
the whole thing.
He was like, "Can you guys just shut the fuck up?"
I
Yeah.
could explain it to you
What
right
were we talking
now.
about?
You really couldn't. Unless you could, I don't know.
Super magnets. Okay,
I'm not gonna qualify.
so I want to hear your guys' take. If someone were if someone were to want to make an zero gravity box where you could go inside and it would be no gravity, how would you do that?
Like a vacuum, or is it different?
Like on Earth, like
Well,
on
how
Earth,
would you
like
get
a
there?
zero
How would you
gravity.
make it? Yeah. How would you?
Oh, fuck.
Not
Get
really.
up!
I'm not aware of how
God.
magnets affect gravity, so.
It's like it's like the opposite. It's literally
Yeah,
just
so
if you-
basically
if you make
Earth
it
has the
9.8,
pole.
9.8, yeah.
Do you have?
Same-
you
like
guys
the
have
same
any
force.
ideas?
Isn't it just like?
Yes,
Okay,
it's just
never
like.
mind. I'm not gonna speak on this because I don't.
Okay, so my theory.
Understand.
So imagine.
Oh, I'm gonna
Okay.
beat this guy! I'm gonna beat him! Oh,
You
that
make
dude was
it?
waiting by the finish line. Never mind. I didn't make it.
Okay, so say you have Earth's core, right? Earth's core is sucking in. Think of it as a black hole. It's sucking in terms of gravity, right? It's pulling in.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
what
have
if you
one question
took a?
before you keep going. One question. So you know how like the pull of gravity is like 9.8 on Earth?
That's
9.8
acceleration. Yeah, that's the acceleration
so,
due to gravity. It's
like,
not the pull of
so
gravity.
if you were near the core of the Earth, would it be the same?
Yeah, it's
No, it'd be more.
that's not the pull of gravity. It's the acceleration due to
No,
gravity.
it would be more.
It would
It's
be more. Yeah, that's
It
our
is more.
surface. That's the average surface.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think
Okay, so it's
9.8
not.
is,
So you're
it's
saying
the
the acceleration.
acceleration.
So the acceleration due to gravity would be high. Would be more though.
Yes,
Closest.
because that
Okay.
number, the 9.8, is the surface, is the average on our core.
I'm pretty sure 9.8 is sea level.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I
think
think
you're
that
right,
would make sense. It would be either sea level or just the average, but I'm guessing it'd be sea level.
But it's not much different. Like from like the
Yeah, it's
tallest
small
mountain,
decimals.
It's like
It's
it's like 9.7.
because our core is like our Earth is
5 maybe.
huge. Like
You're still gonna fall and die.
the core is a
Yes.
very small percentage of Earth as a whole chunk. So say you take a plate, okay? Say
Earth's
imagine a huge plate. You put it down. Say it has the exact opposite force. Would you standing on top of that plate, because Earth's gravity comes out from the center, right? Wouldn't the entire rays, it would be like a cone shape coming out from Earth's surface? Wouldn't that be eliminated if you have a magnet on the surface countering it in that
So
one
would you just
spot?
be floating on top of the like, even
So
if there's
you-
no walls or anything, you would just be floating like up above the plate.
If you have it perfectly,
yeah.
wouldn't you cancel that force and wouldn't you be in a zero gravity chamber?
I mean,
Theoretically.
yeah, but the thing is,
Can't
I
think
don't
of, like,
know if
why that would be
I don't know
wrong.
if that'd be physically possible. Because like, what if like if you canceled it, like I don't even know if that's possible to build like something like that.
Like, are you saying in strength wise?
Yeah, like I feel like there's got to be something. I want to look this up. I feel like we could find something about
You
it.
should look up the variables that
What would I have to look
affect
up?
gravity. And see if we could control those variables. Because obviously there's more variables than just gravity,
Is it
no
density?
gravity. But I'm saying, like, what other variables would you have to deal with?
Doesn't the density of the core have to do with that?
I wish I could draw you a
Like
visual.
black holes have like infinite mass.
I'm saying,
don't they?
so imagine
That's
a
why that's-
specific spot, the center of the core. So the exact point, the exact pixel in the center of the core is where all the gravity is coming from, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like
So
there's a
it
name
would.
for it, like the
So if you had a
quintessential
plate,
point.
right, that's like 50 feet long or 50 square feet, right, of a plate, wouldn't it come out in rays from the center towards that, so then the rays would keep going. So then it would keep getting wider. The area all above. So imagine the area above the magnet. Wouldn't that all be zero gravity? And wouldn't it keep getting wider because since it all comes from a cone, or since it all comes from the center, wouldn't it be a cone shape of anti-gravity?
I want to draw a picture of this. I want to just like make sure. I'm trying to think.
I feel like
Cause,
Yeah, it would help if you draw the. It would help if you draw the picture because then you can imagine
Like, it would just
the rays.
expand.
It would keep going out in perfect straight lines because if it comes from the one point, you know, in the center.
Would it go out in a circle, like a cone?
No, I don't know. Well, it would be that. I mean, if you're looking at it from the top down, it would be.
no,
a
yeah, it would
circle.
have to because because it's like a pie chart. Like every single line's a different angle coming out from one edge of the plate to the other, and so they're not parallel lines, none of them. So they would all have to go out, and they would.
Yeah, it would
Like,
be
that
a
would
big
make
circle
sense.
on
They'll
top.
just get further away.
Yeah. So we're trying to think is if.
But that's so weird
So,
because like no
okay,
matter the
so
size of the
saying okay, so this is
Would it be 3D?
this discussion is saying is holding at a constant that we have the technology to make a magnet this strong.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
So,
in real life it would.
We're
Like, kill.
basically the argument is if we were gonna do it, is this how it would be done? And I think yes, but I also we need to like see the other variables that would affect this.
That would be insane because imagine if you just did that and just like made it go straight towards the moon and you just put on a spacesuit and like
Yeah,
you
and
could
you just float
calculate
it
the
up.
trajectory exactly
Yeah.
and you
Well,
literally just have to
isn't
jump
the
with the
gravity
perfect amount of pressure and just go.
But you got to
That's
think
it.
of once you start getting into space, there's
The gravity towards
there's
the moon,
other
yeah,
gravities.
the
that you
moon,
would-
yeah, and but scientists can calculate that and stuff like they have
Yeah.
before. So that's not the problem.
Like,
the
you
problem
have
is
the
building a
perfect- you have
fucking
the-
supermagnet. I'm reading
Oh,
something
we're about
about
to lose.
like an anti-gravity study right now.
Like, oh, we're about to lose shit.
Although general relativity theory appeared to prohibit anti-gravity propulsion.
Wait, that's Einstein's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Einstein.
Ah, buzzer beater.
Let's go. We qualify.
Did you know there were several programs funded in the 1950s to 70s for like this type of thing, like anti-gravity?
Do you know? Does it say what they did
But
in a
they,
nutshell?
they couldn't like find anything.
Clearly.
Well, yeah, but like,
Well, they could have
Did we
found
just-
things that
did we
weren't
just
just the
give
final
up?
answer. So if it's
like, is it,
so,
like,
what is Einstein? What
confirmed
about
that we
Einstein's
can't?
theory? What about Einstein's theory of relativity that can? Because that would be an example of a variable. That would. The theory of relativity would be a variable that counters this. So I'm trying to think of what.
Wind.
Well, that's why he made special relativity.
What does wind affect
Sure, he
gravity?
came up with that.
Yeah, if it's blowing down.
That would be a really fucking weird wind.
I mean, that's how wind is up in the air in the clouds because that's how storms come. It's just like force of
Tornado.
cold fronts going down.
God, this is going off.
Well, do magnets even like affect gravity exactly?
Well, I thought magnets just affected
Yes.
other metal things, but
Yeah, I'm going
like,
off.
I don't know. I'm retarded.
Keeping
You've used that word a couple times now. This is not safe for kids anymore.
Oh, retarded?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey,
God, I
James,
just got
take that
pushed
out.
off.
Well,
It-
Earth's gravity comes from the core,
Hey,
right?
Herschel, stall
Yeah.
The
that
core
word.
is metal.
Well,
It is technically a
It's
ball
just
of
nickel
really
and,
dense metal.
Like,
Herschel,
zinc and some shit.
what?
spell gravity.
And
What were you gonna spell,
Oh, I was the
Herschel?
last one to qualify. Let's go.
gravity?
Don't, Aiden, not the time.
You already did
What?
it. You already said it.
He did?
What'd I say? What'd I
Sue
say?
The word that 2020 is not allowed.
I don't think it was
Did
ever
anyone else
allowed.
qualify? Me and
It
Candace?
definitely was allowed, Aiden.
Yeah.
There was definitely a point in time when it was.
Not when I was alive.
When?
Yeah, when was that, Jamie? Would you pull that up, please?
Chunkus is how big?
So, Grant, are you seeing anything in terms of variables that would
How
I'm
counter
looking
it?
at one sec.
But are we in understanding about how the rays would bow out because the gravity comes from the center point? But do you think well, I guess if the magnet was strong enough, the gravity wouldn't go
Wait, why does
around it.
Why does a magnet affect gravity though?
Because that's what
Thank
gravity
you.
is a pole, which
Yeah,
is a
it's-
I thought
magnet.
it was like a magnetic field.
Yeah, but it's like an
that comes from
electromagnetic.
the-
It's an electromagnetic field. Gravity is an electromagnetic field.
Yeah, gravity's a wave. Okay, well, never mind. I'm retarded.
Wait, what?
No.
No. It's
not a I don't think it's a
basically
wave,
it's
but-
Gravity
being
is a wave.
It's a force.
You're being pulled
Gravity's
down.
a wave.
Oh
Is it a
no,
vibe?
we're kind of singled out over here, Tanner. Everyone's over here too.
Gravity is a wave, not a force.
Oh,
You
hopefully,
just said
okay.
gravity
See,
is a wave 4 times in a
Bro,
row.
no. Gravity is definitely a force.
Gravity is not a force between masses. Instead, gravity is an effect of the warping of space and time in the presence of mass. Without a force acting upon
yeah,
it,
because the presence of mass
Well, I mean, that's
is
what we
our
call
center
it, yeah.
core. Our center core is that presence of mass that creates gravity.
Yeah.
Okay,
But how-
never
what do
mind.
the
This
lines
says
look like?
gravity
Of the core.
Okay,
which
I'm
call it
sorry.
that.
This says gravity is a force.
Gravity is a force. Like that's
sorry.
literally
No,
like.
because in
I know,
no,
yeah,
you remember no, because Kane, you remember in physics, Mr. Gerke would always ask, "Is gravity a particle or a wave?" He would say that like over and over again, and then the answer was neither. It's a force.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I remember
Yeah, it's
that
not a
was
particle.
like,
like when
that.
you draw the
It's a
lines in
particle.
physics,
A
like,
particle
gravity was one
makes
of the real
gravity.
forces.
A certain
I'm
particle
wrong.
would
I'm
make
wrong.
gravity. The particle
Gravity
at the
is a
center of our
force.
core is.
but like why? Why does it like? Why does gravity like? Why does stuff?
Mass.
That's just
mass?
a
Because
law of
it's so,
water.
because the mass is so dense that it pulls other things that are not as massive. Oh, I just fell off. God damn
That doesn't
it.
make sense. Like why does something that big just like pull stuff? Why does it do that?
Hold on.
Grant, that's a great question.
I'm gonna pull that one up.
Is
first.
anyone
Is it
still
because of
alive?
like the Big Bang?
No, me
'Cause
and
it all
I think
came from,
Tanner,
like, a
Tanner
center
just
point?
left. So
I mean, so, guys, if you think about it, there will eventually be no energy left in the universe. It'll all be used up. What do
okay,
you-
I think
how do you
I
guys
think the
feel
right
about
question
There's
is
gonna
why
be
do
another,
objects
no, but then Herschel,
create
then there could be
gravity?
another Big Bang after that. It could always spark. That's the
that?
thing.
That's true, but like,
Okay, why do large?
as our
Okay,
understanding,
okay,
No,
here
yeah,
we go,
I feel
Grant.
like
Grant,
it'll just end eventually.
this is
like
why
eventually
do
there will be no energy left in the universe.
why do large objects create gravity? The strength of the gravitational force between two objects depends on two factors: mass and distance. The force of gravity the masses exert on each other. That's what we're trying to figure out. If one of the
Yeah.
masses is doubled, the force of gravity between the objects doubles. That just tells us what happens, but like why does that happen?
I'm just understanding. I just want to understand like why there's a force. Because like even like in between like me and like just for example like Logan, someone who's like clearly bigger than me, like there's a force of gravity. Like he has a stronger force of gravity than like it's
Yeah.
non-existent.
Well, it's
Basically,
because we're on a
there.
it's because we're on a planet that has. Oh,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
asking.
it's canceled out by
But
the
like
gravity.
okay, theoretically, if me and Logan were in space, I guess there's always a force of
Are you
gravity.
thinking
so
a
we're not
vacuum?
thinking-
You're in a
Yeah,
vacuum.
in a
That's just you
vacuum,
two.
Logan would
If we're
pull
in
you.
if we were in a vacuum, Logan would pull me towards him, right?
Yes.
Okay, if
Very
you're in the-
slowly, very
take a long
slow.
time, yeah.
in a vacuum, like just on Earth, do you mean, or just
No,
like
in a
Yeah, like a
vacuum.
vacuum, like, yeah,
In a
like a
vacuum,
Dyson,
bro.
like a vacuum cleaner.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can't
you
just
guys
say
game done?
vacuum.
Bro, it's
What do you?
That's the term.
Wait,
What?
did you think? Wait, did you
Give me
think I
a
was
look.
actually talking about a vacuum
No,
cleaner?
no, like a vacuum chamber.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yes.
talking about.
so we
Like
can
on
just
Earth.
say
It
vacuum.
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be
It
on Earth.
could
It
be
doesn't matter.
anywhere, and it's the exact
Like,
same.
like
Yeah,
in
we-
dead space.
It could.
Like,
Tanner, are you
saying,
joining?
like
No,
It's
deep.
there is
Uh,
no
it'd have to
Tanner.
be-
There is
Yeah.
no dead space. Wherever you are in space, you're gonna get pulled by something.
Yeah, by something, especially because there's how big things are
Well,
far
yeah,
away.
if you're by Logan.
Aiden really just said on
Alright.
Earth as if that matters.
got him.
Like it's still a vacuum.
yes, it does.
Dude, you could be in a vacuum in anywhere, and if
Oh,
if it's a perfect vacuum, it does not matter because it's a vacuum. you just get absorbed into him like he's a black hole. Oh shit.
Light
Okay,
does not
Aiden,
escape him.
But a
why
vacuum
he's
is
saying about it.
zero everything. So you could be on the moon, you could be on the sun, and it would be the exact same because the definition of a vacuum is no forces.
Okay, no forces. Yes. Okay.
Air forces?
Yes,
I-
that's what a vacuum
like,
means.
Okay, no, like in a I thought you meant like zero air pressure.
An actual vacuum has no air pressure because it
You're
has
saying
no
vacuum
forces.
sealed, like
Yeah, you're
But,
talking
like,
about vacuum
like,
sealed?
I'm just talking about like in a vacuum, like a
Aiden,
vacuum
the definition
chamber.
of a vacuum is no forces,
we're
and
not
air
talking
pressure
about,
is literally
we're
a
not talking
force.
about a human, Herschel. We're not talking about like a human like vacuum chamber built. We're just saying like a theoretical like situation in a
They've
vacuum.
made
Like,
vacuums.
he's
They've
just saying it. It's
they've
not
made
like-
vacuum. There's no forces, and of air pressure is a force. So Aiden, there's no air pressure either. Pressure means force.
In a space like devoid of matter, you guys would get pulled together. Yes.
Yes.
very slowly.
I agree.
Because I don't think the force would be
very
strong.
slowly.
Well, we wouldn't get pulled together. I'd get pulled towards him.
Yeah.
You'd get
This is-
pulled
Well,
towards
Well, wouldn't you?
him more
No,
than he's-
no.
more than
You would,
he's
but no, yeah,
pulled
you would
towards
both
you.
get pulled together.
You would still go towards you.
You would,
a little
you would
bit.
just go a little bit faster.
So his wouldn't cancel his wouldn't cancel mine and make him pull me towards me.
No,
both
No,
would
no,
come towards each
no,
other.
yeah.
We'd go towards each other. Yeah.
If it canceled out, you wouldn't. You neither.
Logan wouldn't
Yeah,
go
that
as
would make-
far.
that makes
You would
sense.
go farther.
Oh, it's
So
got thrown
then,
forwards.
Then how come like the sun isn't like pulled towards like the earth or something?
Centrifugal
It is probably.
forces.
It's just
it's not moving
the sun is so much
We're going
bigger that
around,
it
we're
goes
in
really
orbit.
slow.
It's also being pulled away by other stuff too.
Yeah, that's true. Like
Yeah, that's true.
there's huge fucking
Everything else
stars.
in space.
Oh, I just got thrown over. I just got in the death loop, Grant, and it threw me up in there over the fence, like the high fence.
Wow.
That was sick. Luke just dove over that. Wait, no, that's not Luke. There's two dudes
I'm
named
in the
Cheese
death
something.
loop. I'm in the death loop. Oh, it's pain.
The Doom
All I
loop.
know is
I see
pain.
names, bro.
All I know is pain.
If you press,
Fuck.
L2.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
looking at my
Names.
phone just running forward at the start, and like the little things that you jump over literally propelled me all the way through it.
yeah. So I think that would be the only way to be zero gravity, right? Is to have a magnet to counter that force.
Oh my.
No.
Dude.
I mean, yeah, that sounds pretty right.
Wait, but theoretically, then if that happens, if there's zero gravity pulling you from Earth, then with the moon,
I just fell
Move,
again,
pulling
dude.
you.
Fuck out of here.
Out.
Wouldn't you
Wait, didn't we just talk about the
if
trajectory?
you weren't experiencing
gravity?
any of the Earth's
No,
if
okay,
you weren't
wouldn't you have to have
experiencing any of the
okay,
Earth's
what if the
gravity,
magnet
you
on,
should
okay,
start
what if you had,
experiencing other
okay, imagine
gravities.
you're in a box, right? And then the magnets, the top of the roof, the ceiling, has magnets that counter that force pulling towards you from the moon. And then you're in a room that has no forces, or none of those gravitational forces.
The whole argument was like we're in a box that just like
Yeah, no,
takes
the
everything
argument
else
is just,
out of the
the argument is just
equation.
trying to make
Like no moon,
something
no
above
nothing.
this plate
Everything else is
that you
irrelevant.
could float. Well,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even care about being pulled by the moon. I'm still not getting pulled by Earth's gravity, meaning I can float, you know? You'd float a little high, but I feel like the moon's... Because, like, say you're on the moon itself. You're literally on the moon and you can still hit the ground, right? Well, no, that
Yeah.
would be... Because Earth... Okay, if you're on the moon, Earth isn't pulling you towards Earth strong enough for you to just float away from the moon. So that would mean the Earth is bigger than the moon, right? So you wouldn't just start floating towards... You would be able to jump like you would be on the moon, right? If not, just float in one spot, or slowly. Because when you're on the moon, Earth is
No,
bigger.
you're wrong.
When you're on the moon, Earth is bigger, right? Earth has
Yeah.
more gravity, and
But-
when
but
you're on the
it's
moon, you
massive
don't just start
distance.
floating.
I thought the
Gravity,
moon
and
didn't
you're
have
on
like
the moon.
its own
So,
gravitational
like the
pull.
distance is.
Why
super
wouldn't the
short
moon have its own
compared to-
gravitational? Tanner, how would you stand on the
My moon
moon
does,
without
bro.
floating away?
There's asteroids, I think, that orbit the moon.
Did you
If
just
you-
say that the Earth? Did you say that the moon does not have gravitational pull?
That is
I
what was
thought,
just
like,
said. Tanner,
Tanner.
how do
It
astronauts
does,
not
but
just
Earth
float
is so
away?
much bigger that it
Yeah,
doesn't-
Tanner. How do you think astronauts like stand on the moon?
I was just gonna ask that as my follow up.
What?
Well, they should have
Because I was
answered it.
Because there is gravity.
Okay, so I think
that
that
was
yeah,
Aiden's.
you would have to have magnets, just perfect. That has to be a thing, don't they? Because don't they have gravity chambers on Earth?
Gravity chambers? What do you mean?
When you're
so.
practicing,
Gravity chambers?
there's places. Isn't there places you can go? Like, don't astronauts practice the floating?
in like pools.
No,
Oh.
Is there
It
not?
does,
Is there
yeah.
not? Is there not any?
Every object
Is there not any
in space.
simulation that?
They
No, I'm
That can
practice,
make you
they-
float?
They practice in pools. No, they practice in pools. They practice on equipment in pools.
I'm not going to take Aiden's word for it. First and
They
foremost, given some of the
listen,
things
I
that
know
Aiden
this.
said.
I know this.
I thought they
know
just do
this.
that
They practice in
for-
pools.
Aiden, you were telling us that gravity was a wave for like 5 minutes, yelling at us.
So-
it was like
used to
it was literally
weightlessness.
under
Is
a
it not?
minute, but
You said it like 5 times,
it was yes, yeah. Yeah.
and it's been less than 30 seconds right now. So
Okay, listen. Astronauts practice on equipment in pools, okay? And you can
You
go
already
on a
said that.
plane and get zero gravity effects.
yeah, that's called
Oh.
going out of orbit because that's zero gravity.
What? I said you can go on a plane and the plane
Wait,
can
let
go
me
on
see.
a nosedive and
I'm just gonna
like,
look it up.
Oh yeah.
Astronaut
that's
zero
the
gravity
only anti-gravity thing
chamber.
type thing that we have. There's no astronaut
Explore-
zero gravity chamber.
Yeah, NASA does not have anti-gravity chambers. That'd be so sick. Imagine
God damn it!
imagine
That
just
would be
being able to
sick.
just float.
I want to experience zero G so bad and take a jab in it. I mean,
Wait, no, they don't know what that
Zero
means.
G's.
You mean,
do my homework in it.
yeah. So,
Man, I got
how does a
chemistry at 9:30
zero
in
gravity
the morning
chamber?
tomorrow.
Yo, the
I
zero
have
gravity research
astronomy.
facility
Grant, it's the
provides a
first day,
near
don't worry.
weightless or microgravity environment for a duration of 5.18 seconds. This is a. Oh, I have a. Oh no, that's just a. Oh, okay. The only way it's been done is by free falling.
Yeah.
The closest you can get to being an astronaut and floating is by free falling. Because you are falling so fast towards the. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, in a plane. They do
Or
that
you
in
just
planes.
fly.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what
if
the
you
G.
learn how
That's
to
what the
fly.
G thing means. How many G's you got, bro?
Bro, people in this game are assholes.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
are.
Like, just
They just
play
bump
the
into you and then
minigame,
pull
bro.
you off.
You can throw people off.
Yes.
You
You
bump
can
them off.
hold R2.
Like
That's how
people
you-
literally just run up to me and grab me for no reason. Like it doesn't, and then they fall off.
And they, like,
Trying
it
to
doesn't
grab me.
give them any good. God, no one's being eliminated.
Benefit.
It's about to go super fast. People just like my owl skin. I think that's it.
Remember when you were like, "This podcast is only going to take 20 minutes"?
It's been like 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. I knew there was no way we were going to cover six topics.
And then it hasn't been 2 hours, but it's been longer than an hour. We're definitely closer to 2 hours than we are to 20 minutes.
No!
Oh, thanks, Luke.
Luke was the last one.
You want me to check how long it's been? Wait, so are we done with the zero gravity?
I think we're done. We got all the topics done.
So, yeah, are we in agreement that out of in all of our brain power, that is the way to do it, probably? To actually, not just free fall, but like actually
Just
have
magnets?
anti-gravity?
With a super
Okay,
dense
but have we,
magnet,
have we established that magnets even like affect gravity?
Because that's what the core basically is when it
Yeah,
has that
the core is-
mass,
it's
it
just
has
a mass.
it becomes a part of the
Oh, yeah,
magnetic
we
field
get-
that grabs
yeah,
things in.
yeah.
So it has a certain magnetic force, a magnetic pull.
Yeah,
Earth's
you have to
gravity
manipulate the
craft.
magnetic field inside of the chamber to be.
Yeah, but a magnet
Net
only,
zero.
but a magnet only
A
affects
magnet only
magnetic
affects
fields.
metal.
But like the core itself is affecting magnetic
It's a magnetic
fields, 'cause
pull,
that has
isn't
to
it? I thought it was a. I thought gravity is like a magnetic pull.
We would have to replicate the core of the Earth.
No.
Just a magnet. Just a magnet would not be enough to replicate the core. Wow, we already scored 2 goals.
You would need
Just a-
enough You'd need to match the mass of the Earth on the other side.
Yeah, the magnet.
Like,
Just a
I
magnet.
don't
would not
know.
affect-
gravity's
Wait,
technically
wouldn't
a
it just
magnet.
have to be a magnet that has enough force to counter what the Earth's magnetic force is?
Well,
Yeah,
you'd-
but that's a lot.
You'd have to
Well, no,
be made
yeah,
out
no.
of metal,
The,
right?
the
Like, you-
constant was that we have the technology to make a magnet that strong.
like yourself, like
Damn it.
The
you
question
wanna
is more
spend-
as if you had this technology, is this how you would do it?
Okay,
I
Caden, do you
think
want?
so.
Yeah.
Caden, are you trying to like make a human float or like an object float?
Isn't that?
I'm pretty sure that
aren't
is
we
the
just an
same
object?
thing.
Aren't we?
No,
like
like-
that literally
like-
has the same thing.
Because
So
I don't
you
think
would have to have two.
If I
human
drop my
really
phone, or if I drop
massive
me, we're gonna fall
objects
at the same speed.
equidistant from like a center point.
Okay, so how would
So
I
then
be
it would
affected
cancel
by a
out
magnet?
I just like,
Like,
yeah,
I've
you
never-
would just. So yeah, it would just have to be because it doesn't really matter
No, it's not
what's.
the magnet affecting you. It's the magnet making the lack of something
Yeah,
affect you.
yeah, no, that's exactly what it
It
means.
has to cancel out the Earth's
Okay.
force.
It would just it
The
cancels it
magnet's
out
not shooting you
basically.
in the air.
But
Yeah,
does,
no.
Okay, so does a magnet?
It's
affect
it's not
gravity?
you being pulled
Like-
by a magnet. It's you not being pulled by gravity anymore.
Oh, we're losing.
No, we're tied.
We're tied.
We need to score again.
This is a good game. We've scored like 3 times. This is 3v3. I think
I need to be messy.
I feel like the podcast is getting kind of long. Should we just do another one?
Well, I think we're all in agreement that that would be the way. to
Do we
it.
have another topic?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
No, that
already
was-
have some topics written down. I'll tell you them in a sec.
Bigfoot.
Not for,
Bigfoot
not,
real.
not for tonight.
Yeah,
though.
we
I
could
feel
do.
like
That's probably a good
For
idea.
episode
That
two.
that could be. We could learn.
Bigfoot is not
probably
real.
learn
I'm
a
sorry. I
lot.
don't think he is at least.
No, save this for
I don't
tomorrow.
think he is either.
How do you
No,
think people
I
like
actually
elevate
watched something-
themselves
Hey,
just
what
like
about-
watch
something
planes
that-
being abducted
What
by
about Hummel
aliens?
Park and
No,
the
you have to
albinos?
think about the Vietnam. There's these things that like are known to like exist in Vietnam forests, and there's way more evidence than Bigfoot.
Chupacabra.
Shit, we need to not
Well,
lose.
yeah. I think like every continent has their own big ape. That
But like this
no one
one has,
knows.
I forgot what the proof was, but I watched the video and I was like, that's like actually weird, because both sides
That's
of
weird,
the
Tanner.
both
'cause
sides of the
US has
military.
Because doesn't the U.S. have no like natural primates though, like that just live here?
No, yeah. Well, isn't there monkeys
That's
in like
possible.
Florida?
I'm just talking about Bigfoot.
Well, yeah, monkey, but they didn't get
Wait,
there.
there's
They didn't.
no
They were
natural
there.
primates?
They
No,
weren't
there's
there.
no,
They
there's
weren't
no
there
big,
originally.
there's no big primate. I think is what the thing is.
But like
There's
in
nothing
Florida, the
bigger than a
monkeys that were
monkey.
there weren't they like brought from like other? Because animals were brought from other countries.
I know the
Well, there's,
Everglades
like,
are weird, bro.
baboons
There's like a
and stuff
lot
from,
of.
like,
Wait, but they could have came from like Russia.
America.
Oh, we need to score this ball. We need to score
Oh,
this
that's
ball.
true. That's true.
No. Why are we kicking
Or
backwards?
from like Pangea or some shit.
I thought there was.
Because monkeys definitely could have moved.
Oh,
like, 'cause
we're
there's
gonna win. We're
countries
about to win. We're about to
connected
win. We're
us
about to
that
win.
have natural,
No.
primates.
Yeah, it's like South America.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
Yeah.
and like
Oh, that's a goal.
Mexico.
That's a goal. That's a dub.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end it.
But,
We'll
like,
talk
the
about
monkeys in
Bigfoot
Florida-
tomorrow. Tune into our podcast tomorrow. We have a lot of subjects. I'm not really gonna say what they are, but